Yes, this is Semeku when you're coming back to the second part of the conversation that I initiated just a little while ago in terms of strategy, in terms of what IPOB ought to do other than what is happening today. Of course, we're all aggrieved by the violence we saw, the pictures we saw. They were terrible. It forced us to begin to think of alternative ways to achieve these goals. I am not an advisor to IPOB, but we all had this experience. Every Nigerian is touched by what is going on today in Nigeria. Personally, for me, I am always concerned about rule of law, about fairness, about the rights of people, including the right to self-determination, which there is no doubt that the IPOB members, they have rights to ask for self-determination. It is a right recognized under international law. How they go about that right is going to be something else. But the question is, what can we do to avoid the present situation, to avoid confrontations between the military and the civilians? One thing is clear, and we seem to agree: Nigerian military cannot be trusted to abide by the rules of engagement, by the internationally accepted rules of engagement. That is clear. Nigerian police, they don't abide with those things. So, faced with situations like this, you must think of ways to avoid violence. I know the attitude of Nigerian government towards the IPOB. It's not well organized, it's not well coordinated, the standards are low. I know these things because last year, if you recalled, I was forced to go to court to secure the release of about 50 people. 50 ordinary civilians were randomly arrested by the Nigerian police, hauled into a truck, taken to the police station, and they charged them with all kinds of things, including treason, including some women, illiterate women who were beaten and abused. So I went to court because I couldn't just sit quiet and watch as these things are happening to human beings in my own country. So I went to court, I listened to it, I knew the kind of discussions we had, and I knew the challenges we had. You know, it was then the police that arrested these people, locked them up, and charged them. Why? Because the police were listening to a command from the center. But for the case to go further, you will need the approval of the DPP, and that is local, and that is the state. And now there were issues and challenges. Will the DPP approve of such things? I'm not going to tell you the details of what happened, but that was where the bottleneck was. We couldn't make progress. We couldn't cross that point. The cases were dismissed, and those people were acquitted and discharged. Then I was also in Port Harcourt on similar venture, trying to get the IPOB people out. So I seem to know the lot. I seem to know these kids. I seem to understand the passion in them. What makes them take these risks? What makes them so hardened to do these things? But having said that, the leaders of IPOB must think more strategically. There should be less of these confrontations. And there's an option. And that option is a little bit different. It is peaceful. It's going to give you a result. And it's going to take advantage of the existing political arrangement. Yes, Nigeria has a constitution. As imperfect as it is, you can exploit it. And in my earlier discussion, the earlier part of my talk, I explained how you can achieve these things utilizing the existing structures, political structures. IPOB should basically you take advantage of the number it commands. It has 3 point something million people, 4 million people that are there, that are supporting IPOB so passionately. With that sort of number, you should simply replace all the political candidates in the East. Make sure that none of these governors will come back. Tell your people to vote against them. If the governors don't come back, the senators don't go back to the Senate, change all of them down to local government and put IPOB members in those places. Once you do that, then you have a chance. You have a better chance. You know, people like to go back to 1966. There wouldn't have been a civil war if Ojukwu was not in support of it and was not leading it. And Ojukwu was the governor of the Eastern region then. Can you imagine if it was somebody else other than the governor that was seeking the independence of Biafra? Then it will not work. The governor will deal with him before the federal government will even come in. So that is what is going on now. That's why the governors of the East invited the military, and the military are harassing and intimidating and attacking the IPOB people. So as it is now, you have IPOB somewhere there, then you have federal government somewhere there, and in between them is the governor, the governors. And the governors are not for IPOB. So you clear that, replace the governors, put the IPOB people in place. If you do so, then you now have the government anew, the federal government anew, then you can have something. You got to be in control of something. You got to be in control of some political space in order to make progress here. So IPOB should be in control of the political space at state levels and local government levels. Once they do that, they can achieve so much. Really, because they will have a government under their control and influence. Then you won't have a situation where a governor is imposing curfew and governors are banning. Can you imagine? Governors could ban you. How can a governor ban you when you have 3 million members? You will vote the governor out of office. Simple. So that should be the first stage. We already crossed that. Then the second stage, you got to get your people now in office to begin to agitate. You know, there wouldn't even have been an Aburi conference if Ojukwu was not in support of the movement. So the federal government cannot take anybody seriously when the state government are there, assuring the federal government that there's no trouble, that they will control you. So the speed with which the governors were banning, they had a meeting and they banned IPOB. Wow. That's strange. Remove them. Remove the governors. Replace them with your people. And then things will be smoother. And when you have state government under control, local government under your control, you can change policy at state level. You can do a whole lot. Because you have resources at your disposal and political clout. That is what you need to do, guys. You know, enough of these extraordinary, unfortunate incidents, because, you know, when these guys are getting killed, it's not good. Nigerian army is worse than apartheid army. Nigerian army is worse than the colonial army. It was easier for Nigerians to challenge the British for colonial rule than for Nigerians to face Nigerian army. It's a jungle. They don't care about any rules. They don't observe any standards. They like to kill people. They shoot the slightest things. So that is the saddest thing. You got to avoid, it's like a train. Avoid confrontation with the military. Don't expect them to obey any rules. They don't obey any rules. No. So, that's what I would do. If I were you guys, remove the governors immediately. None of them should come back. Then put your people in place. That's it. Okay, guys, this is the second part of that discussion, and it's just a random thought of a Mekugonya. As I sit down here, I get bothered by all these problems, and, you know, my friends call me from all over the world. They want to know what I think about what's going on in my country, and I've been entertaining calls and meetings, just explaining my understanding of things, and I just wanted to share it with you, since you're listening to me, and since many of you like to know what I think. This is what I think. You can actually achieve the independence of Biafra without losing one life to the bullets of Nigerian military. And that's what you should be pursuing. Thank you and good luck. But stay out of trouble. I want to see all of you alive.